Hello and welcome to Sweetwater Cakes. Today we are going to make some Halloween cupcakes. So happy Halloween to all of you out there today. I'm so excited because these are 3 very easy Halloween cupcakes to make. We are going to make the not so freaky Frankenstein. Look at those eyes, monster. And Mummy, not your mommy. Welcome to Sweetwater Cakes. I'm Michelle and we're going to make some really fun cupcakes. So let's get started. We are going to start with the monster cupcake. So what you're going to need here, a cupcake, a little bit of frosting, and tips 233, 12, 3, and 1. So let's make this cupcake. Don't you just love the Halloween fun cupcake liners that they have? Okay, so using tip 233, this is actually like a grass tip. We are going to just hopefully squeeze out some grass, which is like the hair that is on this little monster here. I washed it this morning, but sometimes you want to make sure that it does go through clearly. Now, what you can do with this tip is you can just squeeze it so it goes on all around, and just so it is just hair going crazy on this monster, or you can make it more of a designed look where you have 1 or 2 little pieces. All right, so while I'm making this hairy monster, what I want you to do is comment in the comment box and tell me, what are you going to be for Halloween this year? Or what are your kids going to be? Or your dog or your cat or your grandkids? What are people going to be this year for Halloween? So write that in the comment box for me. All right, so here we have, it's a nice and hairy monster. I did this with little Cupcake yesterday and she loved it, okay? Now this technique also works really well for grass. Maybe you're making an Easter cake. Definitely something really fun to do for that. So now I'm going to make a 3-eyed monster. And you can have the monster eyes however you want. But I'm going to start here with a center eye. And then I'm just going to have 2 eyes next to it. You could even have like an eye maybe on the top. Have 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top. See, doesn't this look like grass with some little eggs in it, right? Easter. But this is Halloween, so we're going to give our monster some little eyeballs. And what I love about doing this is you can make the eyeballs like they're looking in lots of funny directions, and that makes it kind of fun. So here my monster is looking in all sorts of directions. See, he's not exactly looking right at you. Who knows where he's looking, right? And it still doesn't look like a monster, so we need to give this guy a bit of a smile. And I'm going to create some bottom lips and then also some top lips of the monster. And you could even do this in a red or something like that. So there, it's nice just like this. But this monster is actually going to get some teeth. So I'm going to switch out my tip here to a smaller tip. It could be like tip 1 or tip 2. In my case here, I'm using tip 2. You really want to make sure that your frosting is smooth though, or else you might get it clogged up in here. So to make the teeth, I'm just going to create little tiny little things. So it's kind of like little shells, but I'm kind of popping it out. And I think that these teeth just kind of add a little bit of extra detail to this cupcake, which makes it so much fun. Look at this monster cupcake. I absolutely love it. Okay, so that's one really easy cupcake that you can make for Halloween. Next, we are going to switch gears here and actually make a mummy. And the mummy, again, is just a really easy cupcake. And it uses 3 colors. We use white, black, and then creepy yellow eyes. All right, so let's get making this mummy. Now with the mummy, I need to switch my white tip out again. I'm going to be using this tip right here. It is tip 47. And tip 47 is usually used when you're making like a basket on a cake. So tip 47, I'm just going to stick with the same tip here. It's tip 5. You could use tip 3 as well. And then with my yellow, I'm using my tip 12 that I was using before. But we have a problem, right? Our yellow, we had white in here before and now it's yellow. If you don't have an extra tip, this is what you can do. You can just take your yellow and you can squeeze it out. So I'm going to just use my little spatula here and squeeze it out until you start to see the color that you want. Kind of reminds me of like those little ice cream machines that you can switch the color on, and maybe you get like a cone with the flavor of the last person's. But we're going to squeeze it out so you can see here now I have the yellow. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is create my little eyes, okay? Now it's going to be really important with these eyes that you put them right next to each other. We want nice big eyes, okay? So here's one eye and the second eye. And I like to start with the eyes because then we can sort of hide the wrappings of the mummy right on top of the eyes. All right, so there's one eyeball, and here's the next eyeball. Okay, so right there, and honestly, this cupcake here is fantastic, just like this. If you just wanted to have, if you're maybe not a big frosting fan, you could have it just like that. And now I'm going to add the nice little mummy wrappings. But we have to stop here for a second because who have we got? Little Cupcake is joining us. Can you say Happy Halloween?
Happy Halloween.
Cupcake is starting Halloween early, eating a little bit of candy, and she helped me make some of these cupcakes last night, and she did a fabulous job. All right, thanks for visiting.
Smart.
All right, so let's continue on here with our little mummy. And again, this is tip 47, usually used as a basket weaving tip. And so you can make your mummy in two different ways. You could use this flat tip, or you could use sort of this scalloped tip. So depending upon how you want your mummy to look, okay? So I am going to just make nice little strips that go straight across here on the mummy. All right, thanks for visiting, Cupcake. Okay, so right here, just like this. And it's really important, like I said, to have the eyes right next to each other because you don't want to put like a little strip here in the middle of the eyes. All right. So here, I'm just going to go straight across and sort of wrap my mummy here just like this. And if it breaks a little bit, like mine did, it's no big deal because that sometimes happens on mummy wrapping, right? As if we all know how to do mummy wrapping. Okay, so here's a nice little mummy cupcake, super easy to make. And we're going to do one more cupcake, and this is going to be Frankenstein. Now, Frankenstein here is going to be just a little bit different, a different style of technique, because we're actually going to frost Frankenstein frosting. Okay, we're not just using tips, we're also going to be using our spatula. So as I'm doing this, I want you to tell me where you're watching from. So we have people from all over the world watching Sweetwater Cakes. So where are you watching this from? Comment in the comment box down below. I'd love to hear where you're watching from. Okay, so with Frankenstein, let me just switch this out here. I'm going to use my green frosting, and you can use, I already have green frosting in here, so I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of the frosting right here on my cupcake, but you don't have to use a bag to do this by any means. And then I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit here with my frosting. Okay, there we go. It's fairly smooth. If I wanted it to be really smooth, what I could actually do is, this is a crusting buttercream, and I could wait until tomorrow, or not tomorrow, wait maybe like 10 minutes or so, and wait until it hardens up, crust. You can see on a lot of my videos here on Sweetwater Cakes, I use like a soft cloth to smooth it out. And I could totally do that on this cupcake. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it just like this. Now, I'm going to start with the hair of my Frankenstein. So I need to switch out my tips, and I'm going to use just a little tip here that's in the star family. You could use tip 18 or tip 16. And I'm going to make my little hair, and he has that widow's peak, right? So I'm going to start with the widow's peak of Frankenstein and just make some little stars right here on the cupcake. And then I'm just going to kind of work my way down on both sides, and then we'll kind of fill it in a little bit. The best way to actually make chocolate, or to make black frosting, is to use, or to start with chocolate frosting. If you start with chocolate frosting, you'll be able to get a much nicer black than if you start with a vanilla frosting. So just add a little bit of cocoa powder to your chocolate, or to your vanilla frosting, and that will give you a nice chocolate frosting. And then add your black dye to it, and you'll have a much nicer black, and more of a black and less than a gray. Because if you start with white frosting, you'll get more of a gray than a black, and we definitely want to have a nice black here. So since I already have tip 5, I'm going to just stick with this. I probably would normally want to use like a tip 3, but we just work with what we've got handy, right? And I don't want to wash quite as many. So I'm going to give him a crazy little smile. He doesn't like have a straight smile. It's kind of a crazy smile that's going on. And I'm going to give him those little stitches. And I like to do the stitches in sets of 3, just because it looks a little better. And then I'm going to switch out my white to a different tip. And I have tip 3 here. You could also use tip 5, of course. And then I'm going to create those nice little eyes, right like that, and give him little pupils. And if you wanted to, you could also even give him a little nose. So we are done our 3 cupcakes. Very easy, very fast, a super fun technique. And what I want to know is, out of these 3 cupcakes, here we have our not so freaky Frankenstein, our little mummy, and our look at those eyes monster. Which one is your favorite? Comment down below, and you will actually be entered to win this little icing smoother. I did a few of these on my Facebook page, so between the Facebook page and the Sweetwater Cakes YouTube page, you can enter into this contest.
I want to win.
You want to win. Cupcake wants to win. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a beautiful day. And of course,